Welcome to the greatest, latest, baddest, maddest show of shows, the Washington Commanders football show. Facts, history, and news. I am your host, Football Freak Friday. Welcome once again to a brand new edition of the Washington Commanders football show. I'm your host, Football Freak Freddy. We have a great show for you, and we're just gonna have a good time today. We're just gonna vibe in that ride. We're just gonna vibe. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. All right, so we're going to get into facts, history, and news before we go any further. So, first thing we're going to get into facts. Let's take a look at it. Facts, history, and news. Facts. Washington Commanders facts. Brian Mitchell, number 30, who was the former running back / kick returner, punt returner for the Washington Redskins. We're going to take a brief look at his career statistics as Washington Redskins / Commanders facts. B. Mitch was one of the greatest players, in my opinion, that played for the Washington organization. He was with the then Washington Redskins. He was number 30. He was a dynamic player, very fast, very elusive, and very dangerous when it came to punt returns and kick returns. Even at running back, he even played emergency quarterback in a football game. Those of y'all that remember that was the body bag game when they played the Philadelphia Eagles. I believe that was back in 1990, and in that particular game, the Eagles won 28-14, and 9 Redskin players were injured in that game. It was a Monday night game, and the Redskins got revenge on the Eagles that year in the playoffs. They beat Philly 20-6, as you remember. So Brian Mitchell, is now a broadcaster. He broadcasts the Commanders games. He has a show with Finley. I love it. B. Mitch played 14 seasons for the Redskins, Giants, and Eagles. He had 388 carries for 1,967 yards, 255 catches for 2,336 yards, and he scored 29 touchdowns. Amazing. Along with 463 punt returns for 4,999 yards. Wow, 1 yard shy of 5,000. And he returned 1,090 kick returns for 19,013 yards. He was selected to play in a Pro Bowl, and he won 1 Super Bowl with the Washington Redskins organization. Okay, on to the news part. The Commanders want the NFL to suspend the Philadelphia Eagles play known as the tush push. Of course, you know that play when the Eagles line up at the goal line and Jalen Hurts gets pushed. They line up a running back and a tight end behind him, and they push him through the defensive line into the end zone. And the Commanders had trouble stopping that in the NFC Championship game this past year that they lost. And they want that play banned. But as of right now, the tush push play by the Eagles is legal right now. They're allowing it. So that's one half of the news. And the other half of the news, the Commanders are expected to have, according to Sports Illustrated, the Washington Commanders are expected to have a very good season. They're predicted to win 10.2 games. Personally, I think they'll do better than that. They won 12 last year. I think they'll be a better team this year, even though the schedule is a lot heavier, a lot tougher. I think that they'll pull through, and I think that they'll win 13 games. That's my record prediction. So that's what I have for facts and news. And before we get to the history section, let's take a commercial break. Sunsweet. This is brought to you by Sunsweet. Amazing prunes. If your mom or your dad is not there to give you advice, go down to your local YMCA. Oh, nope, scratch that. Go down to your local bingo hall and talk to the old ladies there. They are really some amazing prunes. Sunsweet. Amazing prunes. Go talk to one. All right, back to the show. So now we're gonna talk about the other half of Washington Commanders news. They're expected, like I said, they're expected to, according to Sports Illustrated, win 10 games this year and go to the playoffs. Personally, I have the Washington Commanders going 13-3. I have them winning the division over the Eagles, and I have them returning back to the NFC Championship game. And this time, my team will win. We have a better offensive line. They invested in the offensive tackle in the draft. They also, in free agency, got Laramie Tunsil. They built up on that. So I think that they're going to have a much better line, and Jaden Daniels is going to become even more dangerous, and he will not have a sophomore slump. The defense, little worried about the defensive line, but I think that it will pull through. I think that it will do a lot better than people think. And I also believe that the secondary has tremendously improved. The Washington Commanders defense will be vastly improved, and they will win the tougher games on the schedule this year. So I believe that they're going to be a much better team all around, even though I am disappointed that they didn't invest in the defensive line or get somebody off the free agent market, that a big name, but it is what it is. The season's not here yet, so there's no telling what they can still do as far as that's concerned. So, facts, history, and news. And before we get to our history part of the program, let's take another commercial break. Do you have problems? Do you have problems with a cough? And you can't stop coughing? Well, try Dimetapp. Cold and cough. Dimetapp stops cold and cough. But the only problem is I can't open it. You have to use a dime and tap it. What? You have to use a dime and tap it. Dimetapp. Ah. Woo! Hey, I'm not coughing anymore. It worked. Dimetap. Stops the cough, stops the cold, but the only way is you have to have a dime and tap it. Back to the program. So, back to the history part of our program, facts, history, and news. History, there was a great game last year, December 22nd, 2024, at Northwest Stadium. The Washington Commanders played in a thriller of a game against the Philadelphia Eagles. The Philadelphia Eagles had come into Washington. They had won 10 straight games. They were on a 10-game winning streak. They looked unstoppable. They looked invincible. And early in that game, Philadelphia quarterback Jalen Hurts was knocked out of the game. Philadelphia went up early in the game, 21-7. Saquon Barkley had already broke off a 60-yard touchdown in the first half. He had about 122 yards. He had an outstanding performance in the first half. I believe the halftime score was 21-14. Then in the second half, the Commanders had shot themselves in the foot time and time again. They had turned the ball over 5 times in that game. I believe Jaden Daniels had threw 2 interceptions. One was tipped. Blankenship for the Eagles ran it back. The Eagles kicked the field goal. They went up 27-14. The Washington Commanders came back, scored a touchdown, came back, scored another touchdown, took the lead 28-27 going into the fourth quarter. The Eagles got the ball back, kicked the field goal, and they took a 30-28 lead. The Commanders got the ball back shortly after, but they threw Jaden Daniels threw another interception. The Eagles drove down the field with Kenny Pickett as the backup quarterback. Philadelphia Eagles. They kicked the field goal. They went ahead 33-28. About a minute and a half left in the game. The Commanders got the ball. Jaden Daniels drove the Commanders, I believe it was about 92 yards, the length of the field. They got the ball down to the 10-yard line. There's about 8 seconds left. Jaden Daniels snapped it, took the snap, threw the ball right in the middle of the end zone. Touchdown, Jamison Crowder. Jamison Crowder, number 80, catches the ball. 3 seconds left in the game. The Commanders took the lead, and then they added a 2-point conversion, and the Commanders win the ball game 36-33 in a thriller of a game. They beat the Eagles. They snapped the 10-game winning streak that the Eagles had. The Washington Commanders improved their record at the time to, I believe it was 10-5. Then they went on to win. They went on to win 2 more games. They made the playoffs, beat Tampa Bay in the first round, 23-20 in Tampa, Raymond James Stadium. Then they played the number 1 seed, the Detroit Lions, in Motor City in Detroit, and they went up there and destroyed the Lions 45-31. They made it to the championship game, but they faced you-know-who, Philadelphia Eagles. They lose in disappointing fashion, 55-23 in the championship game, but it ended a great season by the Washington Commanders, and that was our history segment. Okay, so with that said, the Washington Commanders, Josh Connerly. I'm going to give you the draft grades, and I want to apologize. Last week I was supposed to give the draft grades for the NFL draft that came out. I didn't get a chance to do it last week, so I apologize. I'm going to do it this week. The Washington Commanders selected first out of Oregon in the first round, offensive tackle Josh Connerly. I gave him an A-, very athletic, very big, very strong. He's going to be an asset to the offensive line, and I believe that they will plug him in and play him. selected number 61 in the second round, cornerback out of Ole Miss, Trey Amos. I gave that grade an A plus. This guy is a ball hawk. This guy is an athlete. This guy tackles well, and this guy seems to make good plays at critical times. And I see him as a plug-and-play starter in the secondary opposite Marshawn Lattimore. I gave it an A plus. Fourth round, Virginia Tech. Out of Virginia Tech, the Washington Commanders selected Jalen Lane, wide receiver, very explosive, kick returner, very elusive guy, hard to tackle, makes yards after the catch, very speedy, runs routes, runs very good routes. He's a very good route runner. I gave this a B plus, and we'll see how the season goes, and maybe I'll upgrade it to an A. But I think he'll be another asset to the Washington Commanders offense, another weapon for Jayden Daniels to work with, along with Terry McLaurin, Deebo Samuel, and the Washington running backs, B-Rob, Eckler, and Jeremy McNichols. Selected in the sixth round was linebacker Kane Madrano. I gave him a C minus, even though he was the fastest linebacker. He ran a 4.46 in the 40. I think that he has to work on his tackling and get a little bigger, but he's very fast, very speedy. He is a good athlete, however, and I believe that he will adjust to the NFL, and I believe that in a year or two he'll be a good player. Last but not least, drafted in the seventh round, running back Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt. He was selected out of Arizona, running back. Very good running back, very fast, hard to tackle, hard to bring down. He has good vision. As a running back, I gave him a B plus, and that's what I have as far as that. And last but not least, we're going to look at the Washington Commanders 2025 season schedule was released. And before we do that, let's do one more commercial. Pure Natural. This is brought to you by Pure Natural Raw Wildflower Honey. My wife doesn't know that I have her honey. So, Pure and Natural Raw Wildflower Honey. Be careful when you open it because you just might get stung. You take a chance, but it tastes good. My wife doesn't know I'm eating her honey. Pure and Natural Raw Wildflower Honey. It's good, but you might get stung. All right, back to the show. Washington Commanders 2025 season schedules released. And let's take a look at the teams that they're going to be playing. September 7th, the Washington Commanders kick the season off. They play against the New York Football Giants. September 11th, they play Thursday night football at the Green Bay Packers. September 21st, they play at the Atlanta Falcons. September 28th, the Commanders travel to LA and play the LA Chargers. October 5th, they play a rematch. Remember the game last year, the Hail Mary, the last second. The Commanders won against Chicago. They come back to Washington on a Monday night, October 5th. They play once again against Caleb Williams, and it will be a very improved Chicago team with Caleb Williams and their new coach, Ben Johnson. Look forward to that game. The first game, they travel to Dallas, October 13th. Washington Commanders play in Dallas. October 13th. October 19th, they play at Kansas City. October 27th, actually. They play at Kansas City. October 19th, they play at Dallas. I'm sorry. November 2nd, they play the Seattle Seahawks at home, Northwest Stadium. November 9th will be a rematch of the NFC playoff game, divisional. They play Detroit. This time, Detroit comes to Washington to play. November 16th, the Washington Commanders go international. They fly over to Spain, and they'll be playing in Madrid. It'll be an early game. It'll be a 9:30 a.m. game. The Washington Commanders will play the Miami Dolphins in Madrid, Spain. Miami will be the home team for that game. They play at 9:30. Check your local listings. Week 12, there'll be a bye. The Washington Commanders will be off. November 30th, they play the Denver Broncos. Sunday Night Football, December 7th, they play at the Minnesota Vikings. December 14th, they play at the New York Giants. December 20th, very important game, rematch with the Philadelphia Eagles. They play at home in Northwest Stadium. December 25th, Christmas Day, they play in Northwest Stadium against the visiting Dallas Cowboys. And to be announced, not sure of the date, the last game of the season, the Washington Commanders travel to Philly to play the Eagles. Next week's show is going to be a great show. Next week's show, I am going to do a 2025, my own prediction, 2025 season predictions, where the Washington Commanders, I'll be doing a season prediction for the 2025 season next week. I'm going to give you my scores for each game, and I'm going to tell you the reason why the Washington Commanders are going to win or lose. So that'll be next week. And also, I'm going to take an in-depth look at the defensive line, and we're going to analyze that. We're going to talk about that. And, of course, we're going to have facts, history, and news and some other great things next week. So, looking forward to it. And, hey, ain't nothing to it but to do it, y'all. Ain't nothing to it but to do it. Ain't nothing to it but to do it. So, looking forward to next week's show. And we're going to have a good time. And I'm just looking forward to the season. It's going to be a wonderful season, you guys, coming up. Washington Commanders. Looking forward to the season. It's going to be great. We're going to talk about a lot of things. They should be starting their training camp pretty soon. Rookie mini camp was over. So, trying to get some music together here, guys. So, bear with me. Like I said, looking forward next week to next week's show. Also looking forward to the season. Can't wait for that. And so with that said, we are done here. You guys have a great week. And Commanders fans, stay up. Have a good one. We'll see y'all next week for a great show. I am your host, Football Freak Friday, for the Commanders Football Show, facts, history, and news. We'll see y'all next week. Y'all have a good one. Peace.